Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's video will be solving question number 2.5 from Signals and Systems book. This is on the request of a student. So let's see, this is the question. Xn is given and uh, the impulse response Hn is also given. And we have to find the value of n. Now note that this n is unknown, so we have to actually find this value. This is the relation given, convolution relation, and two conditions are given that y4 is 5 and y14 is 0. We have to use these two conditions to find the answer. And we can just draw this line, the line diagram, or so from 0 to 9, you can see we have the discrete signals of amplitude 1. This is representing xn. And for Hn, we have just selected an arbitrary value of n. Could be at 6, it could be at 4, it could be at 9. So I'm just taking one value and then we'll see how correct or incorrect we are. Before we solve this question, let me just revise the concept of discrete time convolution. So this is the signal given. We have plotted, as I mentioned. And then the first procedure is to change the variable to k. So wherever there is n, we change it to k. The next procedure is that we flip one of the signals, flipping hk. This is flipped to the left. So this is the h minus k signal. And then what we do is we move this signal too far away to a point n. So wherever there is the 0 will become n and will add n with all the values. And the next is that we pull the signal to overlap with the xn signal. So we want to bring it to a point where it overlaps with the xn signal. So this is our first overlap at n is equal to 0. And from here, we keep moving this towards the right. And let's say this is one intermediate point where the signal is now inside the xn signal. We'll further move it till we get to the last overlap. So this is the last overlap. And this is occurring at n minus n is equal to 9. And from here, actually, we can find the last limit. That is, if we n minus n is equal to 9, from here you can see, from here n is 9 plus n. So this is the last limit. And then we can plot yn. So this is how I have plotted, just to give you an idea. This may not be very accurate because this point could be anywhere. We don't know the n. Okay, now we come to the question. And this is the formula of convolution. I hope you remember this. So instead of writing this all the time, we'll simply write this equation. This we'll call our equation number 1, this one. So from equation number 1, and we have the two values given here. We need to find hn minus k. So for that, we'll just replace n by n minus k. Minus k, here also it will be n minus k, and the value is 1 for h n minus k within this range. That means for this we have both the values, but xk is 1 from 0 to 9. So we'll write it 1 from the limit 0 to 9. And then the next is and case, we'll write that also. And hopefully that is also within this range. N is uh, 0 to n, and n is less than 9. And so our main equation will now be like this, and we'll solve this, take help of this equation too. Now we'll be using the first condition given, and that is y4 is equal to 5. So we'll put y4 equal to 5 in this equation. So n is 4. Here also n is 4. Now the term h4 minus k is 1 only if 4 minus k is within this range. Now you can see this is what we had found out in the previous slide. From Hn we have found this, and this was the range. So this is one of the range that we have to this is the range for HK, and from here we'll try to find out the value. So first of all, we take the lower end, this one here. So the lower limit is 4 minus k should be greater than 0. And from here, we can say that 4 is less than equal to, k is less than equal to. And then we take the upper limit. So the upper limit is this one here, copied. And from here, we can find that 4 minus n should be less than k. So this is the other limit. Then there is another limit, that is 0 to 9. So k has to be within this limit. So we can summarize that for this condition, our k should be between 0 and 4 minus 9. How do you get this? This was the 0 from in one term and 4 minus n. And then it has to be less than 9 and 4. And 9 and 4 we find from here, 9 and 4. So this is the range, but we have to choose one. So from here, if you keep this diagram in mind, and you can see that this is inside the xn diagram, so overlap. This is overlapping, but here it is not overlapping. That means between 0 and 4 minus 1, we have to select the bigger one, the 4n. So we say that we select the maximum of 0 and 4 minus 1. Maximum or more positive or larger. And similarly, from the right hand side, we will select now between 9 and 4, we have to select the smaller of the two. So smaller of 9 and 4 will select. So now let's move further. From here, the minimum of 9 and 4, we can just take 4. But here we don't know whether 0 is maximum or 4 minus n is maximum. So we have to find that. Now the number of samples of yk is upper limit minus lower limit plus 1. This is one formula, and which is you can easily derive from if you just take any diagram, taken this diagram. Now you can see this has 5 samples. And how did we get these 5 samples? We are taking the upper limit minus the lower limit, 0, and plus 1. So upper limit minus lower limit and plus 1 makes it 5. The same technique we're going to Follow here, upper limit minus lower limit plus 1 will give us yk, or in our case it is y4. So upper limit is how much? Upper limit is 4, and the lower limit is the maximum of these two, n plus 1. And from here we can write 5 minus maximum of this. And in the question now the condition given is y4 is equal to 5. So we'll put that. So this side it will be 5, and this whole thing. Rearranging, we get the maximum of 0, and 4 minus n should be equal to 0. Now, what do we conclude from here? If this one is, let's say, 1, then the maximum of 0 and 1 will be 1. But we need a 0. That means this is not 1. This has to be either 0 or less than 0. Only then this condition will fulfill. So we can say that 4 minus n has to be less than equal to 0. And from here, we can say that n, right, n is greater than or equal to 4. So this is one of the conditions of n. We found that from y4 is equal to 5 condition. Now there is another condition, that is y4 is equal to 15. So we'll use that too. Now the duration, or you can say range, the duration of yn, that is the convolution sample, is determined by the duration of xn and hn. So xn and hn, this duration, this has the duration from 0 to 9, xn, and hn has a duration from 0 to n. So we'll use these durations to find the duration of the convoluted signal. So what is the lower limit? 0, 0. And what is the upper limit? 9 plus n, because in the convolution we actually overlap the signals, or in a way we can say that we add the signal. So this should look like this, the convoluted signal. The starting point should be 0, 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, and the end point should be 9 plus n. So this is the end point. Now remember, this is arbitrary. We have selected just assuming any value of n. Now we come to the conclusion that the non-zero region for yn has to be from 0 and n plus n. And anything outside, that means yn will be 0 outside this range of 9 plus n. Now in our case, it is saying that y14 is 0. That means this has to be 0. That is the given condition. That means our assumptions is wrong. And that means we have to cut these two. And we also have to cut this. You have to move this here. And so, let's see, this is 9 plus n. We have moved it to 13, because after that it will be 0. So from here you can see, we can say that 14 is greater than 9 plus n. 14 is greater than 9 plus. And from here we get the second condition for n, that is 5 has to be greater than. Okay, so now to solve for n, we have two conditions. From y4 is equal to 5, we found that n is greater than equal to 4. And from y14, we found that n has to be less than 5. There is no greater, no equal, no equal, just less than 5. That means we can say that n has to be greater than equal to 4, but less than 5. And this is only possible when n is 4, because it has to be less than 5. So that means n is 4. The only integer that satisfies the above condition is n is equal to 4. Since n is an integer, not a fraction, therefore 4 is the only choice. I hope you have been able to follow this. Took a lot of my time and a lot of research actually. And I took help of AI tools. Most important was POE.com, and then also ChatGPT, Gemini. So thanks to all the owners of, and I hope you can also use AI to solve. Please let me know through your comments. Thank you.